Standing up blearily, I looked around, blinking. A light snow drifted down over me. My head hurt slightly as if a blunt force had hit me in my skull. Glittering snow shone beneath my feet. A path of snow stretched ahead as if it was infinite. Pine trees were to my left and right. It was frigid. A cold breeze brushed my face, leaving me shivering. The blue sky stretched ahead. No clouds. I started trudging forward, not knowing where to go. Forward was the only direction without trees, and to be honest, I didn't want to take the risk of walking through the dense forest of trees. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Snow was crunching beneath my feet as I tiredly made my way ahead. Perhaps someone could help. Crunch, crunch, crunch. I felt alone. Crunch, crunch. The trees to my left and right seemed just a bit too ominous. I was alone after all, and yet I felt watched. A primal paranoia was brewing in the back of my mind, and then I saw something that distracted me from my trek. A candy red balloon, sticking out like a broken thumb amongst the white landscape. I walked up to it, and for no reason in particular, picked it up. It felt as light as a feather. It was tied to a string, floating. I decided to keep it. Something about the balloon made me want to hold on to it. And I kept walking. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Hours went by, and I was still walking. The sky was turning a shade of mauve. Dusk was approaching, and with it, the darkness of night. Once again, something snatched my attention. In the woods to my left, there was an opening leading into a forest, and the ground in the opening was covered in a dark splotch. I couldn't see into the woods, it was too dark. The splotch wasn't a simple black color, it seemed like an endless void that almost emanated darkness. It left me with an unnerved feeling in my gut. The dark splotch just seemed so wrong and out of place, contrasted against the white snow. On that dark splotch, there sat a wicker basket. It seemed so innocent compared to the void it sat on. It looked like it had food in it from where I was standing. How did a wicker basket even get there? But before I could run, I felt my body freeze up from the sight that I witnessed again. Ever heard of that saying? When you stare at the void stares back at you. Well, that saying doesn't lie. Two red, glowing eyes. The same candy red as the balloon whose string I held in my clenched hand at that very moment, looked out from the void. They shone like two lamps from hell. Those eyes bore into my soul and into the fabrics of my being. I shivered more than I ever had before as I felt my willpower being taken control of. I watched in utter horror as a claw or a hand or a tentacle, I couldn't tell. The image constantly shifted, that I can only presume was the creature's. Stretched out and grabbed the basket, carrying it back into the darkness. I then heard the sounds of chewing, sounds of bones snapping. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Gulp. The eyes came back. I felt them staring at me intently, though I could make out nothing but eyes. I felt as though that creature was curious at the sight of the lone man walking through the woods. My willpower was being taken a hold of. I could feel it. My legs were working against my will, slowly walking towards the void. No matter how desperately I wanted to run, get out of there, and be as far away from that void as humanly possible, I was walking towards it at a slow pace. I was only a few feet away. That feeling of wrongness was stronger than ever, making my brain go into hyperdrive. I could feel my fight or flight response kicking in, and let me tell you, I was not about to fight that thing. It took all my willpower and mental strength to slowly turn around and shoot out like a ballistic missile. I had never felt such an intense fear. My legs were working by themselves. This time in the opposite direction, I was running as fast as my tired legs could take me. That thing was chasing me, and I could feel it. The frigid wind whipping my face. The trees to my left and right seemed endless. I was hungry, dehydrated, exhausted. I didn't know where I could go. The feeling of being watched never stopped. All my brain was telling me was to run as fast as I could to somehow lose that thing, and yet, within the deepest fabrics of my mind, I knew that it could easily catch me. It was simply toying with me before it caught me and killed me. I was still clenching to that red balloon. I don't know why I decided to keep it, but it had an importance. I could feel it. Not in defeating the candy red monster, mind you, but to the timeline itself. I kept running. I was so hungry. The hunger gnawed at not just my stomach, but my mind too. The creature was right behind me. I didn't need the feeling of being watched to know that. My vision was fading in and out. My legs, though. My legs were still running. They were running out of strength, and my mind felt like a wall that was trembling. It was on the verge of falling down, and then right before my legs gave way from exhaustion, I did the inevitable. I turned around. To face the creature. It was an abomination. Shifting features, midnight black skin, long spindly claws. Or were they tentacles? Or were they paws? I didn't know. Eyes. Candy red eyes that glowed like lamps, prophets of doom and lost hope and death. My mind could not conceive what I was seeing. It was impossible. Candy red eyes. Hunger gnawing away at me like a group of piranhas. Images filled my brain, mass graves, war, the extinction of humanity itself. My mind was barely holding on to the little sanity that was left. The mere sight of the creature with the red eyes tore at my hold to the fabrics of reality. Hunger. And then it happened. I felt my hold on reality give way along with my strength. I was hungry, dehydrated and tired. I couldn't even feel the peace of the sweet release of death. With the images flowing through my brain, I was so hungry. I fell into the glittering snow, still clutching onto the balloon, as if I let go, it would mean certain death. And I looked into the distance. I saw a small wooden hut, and in the distance, snowy mountains. The sky was a gorgeous lavender accentuated by the gold sunset. There were no clouds. And just for a moment, the images ceased, and my vision was filled with a peaceful view. For just a moment, I felt tranquility. For just a moment, my body felt just a hint of warmth, and I was covered in a blanket on Christmas night. And then, as if to taunt me, it was all snatched away. I wanted to cry out, but I couldn't. My vocal cords simply refused to work, and yet even if I did cry out, what good would it do? Nobody would be there to hear it. The creature crawled, walked, pranced, and trudged over to me. I couldn't figure out its walking pattern. It seemed to be everything, yet nothing at once. And the hunger, it wouldn't go away. I braced myself for the pain to come. I didn't get to see much. My visions were pulsating in blackness, and all I saw was a glimpse of the creature's forming a maw in its stomach. A gaping mouth full of teeth, of shapes that I couldn't possibly describe, and then it was all pain. My vision faded to black as a searing agony encompassed me. I woke up to the sound of birds chirping. I slowly opened my eyes, and I was on a hill with a tree from which hung a swing. There was a picnic basket on the green grass. The hill looked familiar. It brought back a vague memory that I couldn't quite grasp. It was sunset. I looked on in the distance and I saw fields of grass, with houses scattered there, here. I let out a breath, no pain, no images, no fear. Only peace. And then I noticed something. Someone was sitting on the swing. Someone who looked human. I couldn't quite make out who it was. The image constantly shifted. The figure was also shadowed by the tree. I walked up to the figure on the swing. I called out to them. After getting no answer, I walked up even closer. I asked the figure who they were. However, I froze the next moment. The figure turned around to face me. Human arms turned to spindly limbs that could not be described in not even the oldest of languages. Red eyes snatched my attention. That color red, the red of a balloon. A bright candy red. I screamed. Couldn't run. I was too close to gather the willpower to even move. The creature opened its mouth in a grotesque grin that was all teeth. It wasn't a happy grin. That grin had a malicious intent behind it. Its teeth were the same candy red of its glowing eyes. Wait, the teeth weren't red. They were stained red. Stained with a red that all humans know all too well. The red of human blood, maybe even my blood. And it opened its mouth, showing a deep, endless void that seemed to go on forever, and it said in a raspy whisper, "Thanks for the meal." I woke up again. Around me were trees. Snow glittered beneath me. I felt so hungry. My memory of what had just happened was slowly crumbling away. I trekked, I crawled, I walked, pranced, strolled, I don't even know which. My mind couldn't conceive it. My way to the edge of the woods, using my spindly limbs, and behind me trailed midnight black splotches as if I was leaving a trail of spilled ink in my way. I thought that was strange. As I looked out from the opening in the woods, I saw a snow path. On the opposite side of the path were more woods. The hunger was getting to me, and by pure coincidence I noticed a picnic basket right in front of the opening. I picked it up and I devoured the contents hungrily, with my rows of sharp teeth feeding my gaping maw of a mouth. Wait, gaping maw. Whatever, it was probably nothing. I had just escaped being chased by some sort of eldritch horror, and I deserved a break. Gaping maw or not. I couldn't remember how I got here, though, but I ignored it. All that was on my mind was getting more food. The picnic basket barely made a dent in my hunger, and then I spotted someone. Walking through the snow path. Could it be? Another human being trapped here. I had to warn him about the creature. He probably wouldn't be as lucky as I am in escaping it, and yet he was looking at me in fear. A kind of fear that reverberated through one's soul. Why? I was a survivor stuck here, just like him. I then noticed the balloon he was holding on to with dear life. Despite his shivering, maybe there were more balloons just like mine. But yet, just as I thought that, any memory of a balloon was gone. It was like all my memories were drifting away one by one, and yet the hunger, it wouldn't go away. Would it be such a bad thing if I ate one of his arms? Or maybe two. I bet he wouldn't mind losing a leg. Or two. The stranger then started walking over as if in a trance. The hunger, it was so great. I could now make out his features. He was wearing exactly what I wore on the day I arrived at the forest. He looked exactly like me. He was me. And on the tree next to me were carved the words, "Your turn to be the monster." And as he got even closer, the hunger got even greater, and perhaps I would have to eat him whole. Would that be such a bad thing? And right as he got so close that I could see the whiteness of his eyes, I saw my own reflection in the balloon. I saw the ever-changing features, the many indiscernible limbs, the hunger. It wouldn't go away. I needed food badly. Perhaps my alternative self wouldn't care if I ate him. But the most prominent thing in my reflection were my eyes. They glowed like two lamps that pronounced doom and death and no hope. The eyes that were a bright crimson of human blood or or a balloon you might find in the store. Candy red eyes. Hey there kids, it's me, Mr. Creepypasta, and I just wanted to tell you thank you so much for watching tonight's video. And if you are interested in getting a nice warm beverage while listening to Mr. Creepypasta's story time, you can always check out my wife's tea shop. It's etsy.com/shop/ivory-monocle-tea. The Ivory Monocle Tea Shop has different kinds of teas, from Dungeons and Dragons to anime to Final Fantasy to creepypastas. You can actually get a creepypasta tea set that features a Mr. Creepypasta tea. It's the tea that I generally have here at my desk as I'm recording. And you can actually request, after you order one, to get the special dabbing MCP sticker, which is the one that I use. And a very special thank you to everybody on that Patreon, patreon.com/MrCreepypasta, especially Ariel Torres, Jordan Alexander Sanchez, Ken Lando Higuchi, Brianna Van Tine-Janzen, Chompski, TheRedOakShieldVirus, Sindee Barney, Asia, G Weevil 3, Diana Kraus, Stephen VanHuss, Tristain Pelton, Nico, kaeo, TheGingerBroz, Dante Rowe, Raphael Rodriguez, Don Meulmeester, Eliminator 86, SteampunkSinner, Kaleb Dougal, Sky Harbor, The Homeless Bird 93, Gabrielle Undefined, Bobby Carmen, Liam Newman, Aaron Stormcrow, Bobby Jean Torgan, Dr. Strawberry, The Wormhole, Barbara Macedo, and Vic. Thank you guys so much, and if anyone would like to join them on that list, head over to patreon.com/MrCreepypasta. Here's hoping that you guys are loving the horror as much as I am. And sweet dreams.